Hello and welcome to the home of the Matildas. We are here this evening for the draw of the Nike FC Cup quarter and semi-finals, the pinnacle of knockout football in Victoria for our women's game. My name is Georgia Radjic and I'm so pleased to be joined by a legend of Australian football and someone who has tasted success here in Victoria many, many times, Melissa Barbieri.
Thank you so much for having me, Georgia. It's going to be an absolute pleasure with you tonight to see what the outcome is of this draw, especially because there's so many good teams still up and at it in this caper. So I can't wait to see who we get out of that lovely little draw.
Yeah, of course, we have NPLW clubs, we've got 2 VPL clubs, and of course, 1 State League 1 club remaining. So we could be in for some cup sets, we could be in for some real contenders who are pushing in the league to also push for another trophy as well. Of course, we have Amelia here from Football Victoria. She'll be drawing out the balls for the teams. The first team that will be drawn will be the home team and all these fixtures. Let's do our first draw.
Number 2.
Number 2 is Bayside Argonauts.
Number 3.
They'll be taking on Bundoora United. So Bayside Argonauts will be hosting Bundoora United. They are 2 VPLW teams and they actually faced off recently in the league last month with Bundoora winning 3-1, and last year they even faced off in the cup as well with Bundoora again winning 4-0. So seems like they've been meeting up pretty consistently lately, Bubs.
They certainly have, and I feel like finals football is a little bit different to your normal league football. Anything can happen in finals, especially when you've got extra time and penalties. Bayside Argonauts have so many experienced NPL players in their side. A majority of their players have come from either Bayside in the NPL or Bentley Greens, most notably, most recently. Sienna Fogarty was the one to score the last penalty for the Bayside Argonauts in that last match, and she knows what it's all about to make it for finals football. So it'd be an absolute, really great show for these 2 teams in the Nike FC Cup.
Well, talked about that, the fact they went to penalties against another VPL side in Galaxy, so they've had to push the hard yards to get there. They also have last year's Golden Boot winner in Suzu Murakami, who was playing for Keilor Park last season, so they've got a lot of proven goal scorers.
They certainly do, and Bundoora are the ones that will push them all the way to the edge, because Bundoora have actually taken off 2 NPL teams on the road to this quarterfinal. So it's going to be a huge matchup, no matter who gets out onto the field.
That's crazy to think that a VPLW side in this into the quarterfinals have already taken 2 NPLW sides, now finally facing someone in their own league. They're sitting pretty well in the VPLW at the moment, 3rd in the league. They're coached by Jonathan Barrientos, so someone who's been around for a while as well.
Yeah, Jonathan Barrientos has upskilled his team. He's certainly got some firecrackers in that squad, including his wife Melissa. She's backing up their defence and trying to keep that clean sheet going. He's been out trying to get as many players as he can to bolster the squad for Bundoora. So this open transfer window might see some added players get onto the roster.
Brilliant. So that was going to be our first matchup, Bayside Argonauts hosting Bundoora United FC. We'll go now to our second matchup.
Number 4.
Number 4 is FC Bulleen Lions.
Number 1.
They'll be taking on Alamein FC. So Bulleen Lions will be taking on Alamein. Well, that is 2 big NPLW clubs going up head to head.
Yeah, certainly have the experience under their belt with Bulleen Lions, and they had to push through on penalties last match against Boroondara, so they know what it's like to go to the edge, especially because they were winning in that match and ended up having to go to extra time and penalties. So they know what it takes to get it over the line. Caitlin Friend, super experienced in this sort of endeavour as a player, as a coach, and so she'll have the team rip-roaring and ready to go.
Well, they also brought in a lot of A-League women talent back for that last match as well. We know that Bulleen, well, they won last year as well. So They have been in so many of these cup finals in previous years. They finally got the win last year. You think they'd be carrying that with them going into this match?
They certainly have, and I think the fact that they've got so many new faces, some regular faces bringing back the experience, but also the newbies that they've been added to the mix has made it really hard for other teams to really predict what they're going to put out onto that field. They've got such quality players in and around all positions, and they're only going to bolster the squad by having those extra additions. But Alamein, what a team this season. They've been absolutely led by John Kyrgios in this opening part of the season. And I know finals football is different to the league football, but I can't help but wonder, does Alamein have what it takes to take over Bulleen and their experience?
I mean, they're sitting third in the league for a reason. Do you think they'll just cause a shock at the Ven?
They could cause a shock at the Ven. I mean, they do have Ash Lefebvre coming back, but she'll be cup tied, so she can't play in this round. So we'll see what they can bring to the table in terms of experience. I know Emma Runnell's always gunning for a great match against Bulleen. She's got her scoring boots on this season, and she is an absolute wonder to watch out on that striking force. So it'll be a match-up for the ages, I think, this one.
Well, Miranda Templeman's just been announced as coming to Alamein as well. That's another player who has A-League women experience. So another keeper to boost their stocks.
Yeah, another keeper to boost their stocks, and keeping it short in the back line, I think, is really important for Alamein. They haven't been letting too many goals in, so what they're doing on the park has been absolutely brilliant, and having Miranda fit in between the sticks is actually going to bolster their squad, no doubt.
Well, that's going to be the matchup between Bulleen Lions and Alamein. Let's have a look at the next one, Amelia.
Number 7.
Number 7 is South Melbourne FC. They'll be hosting
Number 8.
Spring Hills FC. South Melbourne will be taking on Spring Hills. That's a real tasty matchup. And you think we're in the midst of a transfer window right now. Do you think we could see some bolstered squads?
I certainly hope so. I think a lot of the A-League players have been gunning for some game time. So South Melbourne may bolster their squad. Spring Hills also have already put in Maya Markovsky, who is now playing under her dad. And I think it's amazing to see that A-League players can come back and make this NPL season that much more better and that much more contested. And a lot of the teams that may have been finding themselves struggling during the season might be actually able to bolster their squads and find some form into this latter part of the season. But Spring Hills versus South Melbourne, what a tasty matchup. Liv Bomford in the midfield against Alexander St Clair. It's going to be huge. I think, one of the matchups of the Nike FC Cup, I don't actually put my finger on any one that's not going to be good, but let's go with this one, I think, tops it so far in terms of matchups.
Well, of course, Maya Markovsky came back in last week and immediately had an impact, was the scorer of the only goal in their fixture against FV Academy that got them into the quarterfinals of the Nike FC Cup. You've got to think that's some star power to be bringing into a side.
It certainly is, and I know that Bulleen will be missing her, but they've bolstered their ranks. They've already looked past that, and no doubt Maya Markovsky not only playing for her dad, but the Spring Hills is her local club as well. So it'd be great to see her perform well against South Melbourne.
Well, we've spoken about how you think this might be the big matchup at the moment in the quarterfinals. What do you think? Do you reckon this is going to be decided in regular time? We're going to push all the way to penalties? We've seen penalties a couple of times with some of these teams who are left in the fixture.
I think I'm going to say normal time, but it's going to be a banger. It's going to be top corner. Somebody's going to score one, screamer, and it could be anyone. I think it's Raquel Doralis, maybe Maya Markovsky, someone from the bench even, who's a game changer. I love that sort of stuff when you come off the bench and you're fresh legs and the coaches believed in you and you put one into the top corner.
Well, of course, all the games in the quarterfinals, semi-finals and beyond will be broadcast on Football Victoria's YouTube page, and you don't want to miss out on any of these. You can stream them live and free. Now, let's have a look at the final fixture in the quarterfinals.
Number 5.
Heidelberg United.
And number 6.
Manningham United Blues. So Heidelberg United will be taking on Manningham United Blues. Well, the league leader in the NPLW taking on the State League 1 South East team. That's a bit of a big matchup for Manningham United.
I think anybody that Manningham would have gotten would have been a big matchup for them. I feel like they're playing out of their skin. They won 1-0 here at the home of the Matildas last match, and they've got Melissa Maisels in goals. So she knows Heidelberg very, very well. So I wonder if she's going to have some sneaky notes that she can pass on to her coach to make it that little bit extra added venom. I'm sure she's going to try and keep a clean sheet for as long as possible. I can see this one going to extra time and penalties. I really do. Like if a State League team has their team set up to really frustrate an NPL side, you never know what might happen on the counter. And I really think, as far as Manningham have gotten, why not just keep believing in them the whole way?
I mean, it does give a bit of a, what happens if this happens as a cup set. But also, Heidelberg showed in their finals run last year to eventually become champions in the NPLW that they can push themselves. We could possibly see another strong cup run from them as a result.
Yeah, the difference between Heidelberg and many other teams is they've got so many players that they can count on putting the ball in the back of the net, and I really feel like that's their superpower. They might have some additional players that this open transfer window will provide them, but I in fact think that most of those players might be cup tied. Anyone coming from the A-League will be able to slot right into their starting lineup, but if they've been playing for another team, perhaps, then they won't be able to play as they'll be cup tied.
Well, of course, that has been all the quarterfinal draws. We'll be back very shortly to go through who will be potentially facing off in the semi-finals. So we're all on the road here to go to win this particular trophy. We've seen the quarter-final matchups. Now it's time to see who will be potentially versing each other in the semi-finals. We've had some tasty matchups in the quarters. We're pretty excited by what we've seen. But now we get to go that one step further. Melissa Barbieri, let's throw it across to Amelia. Of course, the first team that she'll draw will be the home team for the semi-final fixture.
Number 2.
The winner of FC Bulleen Lions and Alamein FC.
Number 3.
South Melbourne FC versus Spring Hills FC. Wow, what a matchup this could be. I was talking beforehand about the fact that this could be the bracket that leads to the final, but we're going to see this in the semis. That's huge.
It just means that the cup competition is exactly where it's at when you want to see some quality football being played on YouTube. I think it's safe to say that I can't actually pick the winners of any one of these games in order to come to this semi-final. I think it's going to be a matchup for the ages in those quarters. It's probably the best two games of the quarter-final matchups, and to actually have that as the outcome to come to the semi-final, I feel like all these teams are going to be they understand that to be the best, you have to beat the best, and it's certainly going to accumulate with this draw.
Well, it's hard even to pick who's going to win these quarter matches. FC Bulleen Lions hosting Alamein, that's a huge matchup in itself. And of course, South Melbourne versus Spring Hills, we talked about at length. Do you have any predictions of who will be facing in the semi-final, or is it too hard to guess?
No, it's too hard to guess. I think it's too hard to guess. I feel on form, all these four teams are really top of the table at any stage of the season. I actually think how they have been able to endorse their team that little bit better by getting in some A-League players might actually be the difference. So the window's currently open. How that gets those players over the line in time for these games is probably be testament to how far that they can go.
And it's just a testament to the absolute quality of football we're so lucky to have here in Victoria, because really this is just A++ quality football games we get lucky enough to be able to witness very shortly.
And some really good coaches as well. I think finals football is all about what can you do, put your best players on the park in their positions, but also what can you manipulate in the game to get the best outcome for your team.
Let's have a look at the final semi-final matchup. Amelia, take it away.
Number 4.
The winner of Heidelberg United versus Manningham United Blues FC will host.
And number 1.
And they will take on the winner of Bayside Argonauts versus Bandura United. Well, we're definitely going to see a VPL team make it into the finals here, in the semi-finals here. That's huge.
That's massive, and especially for both of these clubs who are doing all they can to promote their women's game at their clubs and their respective clubs, and making sure that they're putting their best foot forward, especially in this Nike FC Cup. It's a real showcase for these teams to be up against NPL teams in the first place, but the VPL playing another VPL side, it can mean either one of them can get through to that semi-final. And then for me, Heidelberg United versus Manningham means a state league team can actually get all the way to the final here. If they can beat Heidelberg in this quarterfinal, it means that the cup final is in their grasp, because they know that they can come up against some VPL teams that are great, but it still means that they're statistically up for a shot.
Who knows, anything could happen. But I think if you're Heidelberg, you're looking at this, draw and thinking this is probably the best case situation for us going forward.
And let's not lie, because VPL, the NPL is there for a reason. You're NPL, you're above all the rest, but it certainly doesn't mean anything when it comes to finals football. The only reason why they would slip up at this point in time is if they take their opponents be a little bit disrespectful in terms of where they see them sitting. And I find that sometimes NPL can do that to you. You might put on your second class team in order to save some legs, because they do have to fit it in between league games. So I really feel like if Heidelberg does put their best squad on the park, they should make it to that semi-final and then cup final. But you never know, do you?
You absolutely never know. Of course, everything on play here, working towards that cup final in the second week of August. But looking at these fixtures, looking at the semi-finals, who do you think has the best chance on winning the trophy?
Well, I feel like Alamein might be the dark horse in this sort of situation. I feel like they've been playing some very, very good football week in, week out. And I keep returning to the old adage saying that it's finals football. Anything can happen. But I really feel like they have a whole squad feel about their team, that anyone can rise to the occasion. And a lot of other teams might have their superpower, their players that when they're on fire, they are a cut above everybody else. But it's really about having that whole team feel and relying on so many other players, because you might not be on your best game when it comes to finals football, and you need other players to step up to the plate. And I feel like Alamein might have that this season. And apologies if I put a curse on you.
Well, before we put on any curses, who do you think's got the best opportunity player-wise? Who's going to step up the most as an individual across the last 8 teams we have?
Oh, that's a big call. I feel like Maya Markovsky has a lot to prove. I mean, she did, come from Bulleen, who set herself up to being able to be signed for A-League. And when you do that, you go from one club to the next club, you really want to showcase the reason why you've chosen. And she did have that family heritage, and there's no reason to say why she wouldn't have gone to Spring Hills anyway. But I feel like there's this real tumultuous sort of situation there. If you saw the fact that Spring Hills could come up against FC Bulleen Lions in that semi-final, that's the one I would love to see, because you'd really see some fireworks in that game.
Absolutely. Talk about star power. But, you put Alamein as your smoky, but you never know what could happen. There is so much talent, as we've spoken about, but also there's so much unpredictability in this, because we've seen penalties for Bulleen Lions already in the most recent round. So it's whether they can just get on the park and get those goals in so they can try and progress to the next round.
How about this, Georgia? I'm just going to say it's going to be down to goalkeepers. I'm just going to say it. Who cares about strikers? Yeah, you put the ball into the net, but I actually think it's about how well our goalkeepers can step up to the plate and keep their teams in it. Yes, you can go down and score a goal, but I'm just going to say best goalkeeper wins in the FC Cup final.
Well, maybe that's going to be, who could potentially be winning the medal on the day as well in the final. But, we've seen Miranda Templeman just sign for Alamein. We've got Melissa Maisels playing for Manningham United. There's some big name goalkeepers left in the draw. Yep. Just, you never know what can happen.
Emily Shields came up big for FC Bulleen Lions in that penalty shootout. You never know.
You never know. Well, of course, we hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the draw. Make sure you watch the games as well. They'll be available live and free on the Football Victoria YouTube page. Well, I'm very excited for all the cup football ahead. Thank you so much for joining me, Melissa Barbieri.
My pleasure, Georgia.